Welcome to session 24 of our discussion of why and how the Frankfurt School governance model appears to have become the dominant governance model in the United States, replacing liberalism. This will be our fifth session discussing our alignment with a third tenet of four tenets of the Frankfurt School: reject religion as oppressive. In earlier sessions, we discussed the long and dated violent history of Christianity in Europe and European colonies, including the United States, as a potential cause for the decline in organized religious attendance and activity that we have witnessed over the past 50 years. You may recall that I concluded that because of the ancient nature of that violence, while it had direct impact on the tenets of liberalism and our Constitution's separation of church and state and other freedoms established in the Constitution, I do not find it a compelling reason for the decline we have witnessed more recently. My top four more contemporary reasons for the decline in organized religious attendance and activity, moving us in the direction of the Frankfurt School rejection of organized religion as oppressive, are: 1. We are increasingly rejecting community. Second, the stratification and public disagreements between different religious groups makes participation in any of those groups more and more undesirable. Third, organized religion's difficulty adapting to social changes and scientific discoveries, compounded by more contemporary acts of violence, either condoned or overlooked by organized religions, have left many wondering what the benefit of organized religious activity is versus just being a good person. And the corollary of this compound cause is that people of faith are rejecting social change and emerging science on religious grounds. 4. Finally, atheism has had some very strong and compelling spokespeople who have had a greater opportunity to preach and organize their religion than ever before. Now, in our last session, we discussed the first of these hypotheses, that we are moved toward the Frankfurt School governance model by rejecting organized religion, as well as science and virtues, because we have rejected community, and are now primarily driven by self-interest. Let's talk about the second hypothesis. It is inexorably linked to the first. Our interest in participation in organized religious activities and events is being made less and less desirable because organized religions are more and more stratified and publicly disagreeing. There have always been disagreements between people of faith. For 200 years, the disagreements between faith groups in the United States was well managed by our liberal separation of church and state, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and freedom of speech. With these principles of liberalism enshrined in our Constitution, the differences in doctrine and dogma that had decimated Europe for the previous 300 years appears to be managed and minimal in this country. Well, what has happened over the past half century to throw this equilibrium out of balance? I ascribe the ongoing trend of stratification and visceral public disagreement leading to rejection of organized religion to three overlapping factors. 1, rejection of community and the supplanting of good of community as the highest priority for measuring and determining personal behaviors and intentions. Community benefit has been replaced by self-interest. This is not without historical precedent. Almost all periods of autocratic rule have been preceded by the rise of self-interest to the highest priority for measuring and determining personal behavior and intentions. Second, contemporary jihad. The attacks by Muslim radicals on the United States on 9/11 not only killed over 3,000 people, but also cast a shadow of religious fanaticism across all organized religion. And the reactions and cascade of actions and reactions since those attacks have continued and increased the shadow that has colored the attitudes of generations of Americans toward all organized religious activities and events, irrespective of whether they are Christian or Muslim or Jewish. And third, the rise of dispensationalism within American Protestantism. This topic will be our focus in session 25. Aloha.